Thank you, Marshall. Be kind. Spread love. Yeah, I mean, what else needs to happen? Oh, goodness. The theme in the Science of Mind magazine and for the Centers for Spiritual Living this month of August has been fear, motivator and guide. And fear can take up some energy, can't it, in our life? And last week, Reverend Lucian talked about the fears in his youth growing up and what he learned from them. It was powerful. And there's been moments recently when I noticed for myself that I can spend a lot of energy wanting something to be different. A circumstance, a feeling, someone else, even myself. And underneath it, there's that voice that says, this shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't. You ever shoot on yourself? And then I feel fear. And when I take a deep breath, I can rest in the question or the message. What is there behind this? My teacher used to say, don't quit before the blessing is revealed. And I also find myself wondering what part of the fear or what part of receiving the blessing is letting go of my idea of what the blessing should look like. Yes. So many of you know that I've been experiencing deep grief for the past 3 months with the death of my husband. And some days are harder than others. But I know, one thing I know for sure is my heart is healing day by day. And I have found that there's an unexpected relief that comes when I stop fighting and fearing what's to come, and I accept what is. Just breathe. Stay open. Stay in the loving. And as Reverend Sarah says, what else is possible here? That's a great question. So if something in you feels heavy, uncertain, or fearful from what you hoped it would be, I invite you to just open to my message today and receive whatever support you need from the words that I'm going to share with you. You know, the other day, some people in parts of the world experienced a total solar eclipse. Wow. I don't know if you remember, in 2017, we had one. I was in Oregon. Rex and I were camping out in Oregon. It was in August 2017, and it was a full solar eclipse. And we were out camping in this open field in the middle of nowhere. And it was so interesting. It just slowly started getting dark and cold. The temperature dropped, and the lights in the town a little bit far away all started coming on, the evening lights. And dogs were barking, and things, and flowers were closing up. It's fascinating. And you know what? In the past, people were terrified of that event. They saw it as doom or God's wrath and anger. And today, we understand that why and when an eclipse happens, and when one occurs, we look on it with awe and wonder. Imagine if you could look at your fears the way we now look at a solar eclipse. Wow. Awe and wonder instead of dread. Because what once might have scared you could be something you could learn from. And maybe someday you will look back lovingly on yourself
And know that you did the best you could with the awareness and the tools that you had at that time.
Amen.
And actually, what if there was nothing to be afraid of at all? I think embracing the unknown is essential for our personal growth. And we don't need to fear what we don't know. We can explore it with curiosity. How many times have I talked about curiosity? Oh my gosh. I think almost every talk. Because the unknown is part of the conscious journey of our life. So when fear shows up for me, I just say, and still I rise. I take it upstairs. I allow myself to be curious. In spite of the discomfort and obstacles I might feel, I have that faith that I can persevere and rise above it. Can you? Well, I know you can, because you're here. And because you have. You've all risen above something in your life. So give yourself a pat on the back. Everybody just pat, pat, pat. Thank you. You did great. Oh my gosh. Perhaps, as author Mary O'Malley said, what's in the way is the way.
Yes. Yes.
What's in the way is the way. Some of you did a book study with me a few years ago with that. And that we rise and are liberated, not in spite of our challenges, fears, and discomforts, but because of them. You know, many people think a happy life is a challenge-free life. Wouldn't that be nice? However, life with its challenges stimulate us, invite us to evolve in consciousness. And still I rise. What does that mean to you? Think about that. Imagine allowing upsets and fears to lift you up. Just imagine that. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to wrap our mental mind around that, but at least be curious about it. So are you willing to rise today and be liberated?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
One person. Because when we rise to a higher thought or a new idea, we're open to possibilities. You can become a possibilitarian. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, said in the Science of Mind textbook, there is within each of us that which is unstoppable, inexhaustible, inextinguishable, unchangeable. That which we call spirit, divine intelligence, source, God, that in which we live, move, and have our being. That essence which rises in us as us can never be lost or extinguished. It is our authentic self. The power of divine love rises in me and I am liberated. Let's say that together. The power of divine love rises in me and I am liberated. That's good medicine. Take that 4 times a day and call me in the morning. You say that enough, whoo. I mean, think about it. Have you ever noticed outside a tender plant pushing up through the concrete sidewalk? Or tree roots seemingly growing out of a boulder. There's a couple of those up at the Bear River that's just astonishing. That these roots just wrap around the boulder, and you wonder, who was there first? Or pink ladies that grow outside. Pink ladies are also called naked ladies. They're amaryllis. They're a type of amaryllis, but they come out of what looks like dead stuff. And then there's these beautiful, fragrant pink flowers. Mother Nature, bless her heart, gives us so many reminders that we can rise. Life rises as us always, when we choose. Mark Nepo, in his book of Soul, talked about a singing group called Sweet Honey in the Rock. And they're an African-American, all-women a cappella group. You've probably heard of them. Their group name comes from Psalm 81, which alludes to a land so fertile that when rocks in that soil are cracked, honey drips from them. This is a perfect metaphor for the sweetness that waits to be released if we can endure the cracks. This is the reward for daring to meet our possibility, for daring to rise. Resilience. Resilience, it seems, has to do with the improbable belief that there is honey in the stone. That the sweet things extracted from hard things will heal us, will liberate us. He says, dream on till the honey that sleeps in the rock of our stubbornness makes its sweetness known. The rock of our stubbornness. Anybody ever been stubborn? Oh dear. The power of divine love rises in me and I am liberated. The power of divine love rises in me and I am liberated. And you know what? It doesn't matter how many times we fall down. What matters is how many times
We get up.
we get up. Right. What if we didn't fear the future and gave ourselves permission to live a new way? You know, as I'm facing personally a whole new life without my beloved. And my mentor told me, oh, honey, you just finished Act 2. Now you're in intermission. And Act 3 is next. Hang in there. Or a new chapter. Ernest Holmes said, I know there's a power for good, which is responding to me and bringing into my experience everything that is necessary to my unfoldment. This power for good uses every part of my human experience, the joyous and the challenging, the pleasure and the pain, to guide me into a deeper awareness and knowingness of itself as me. In God, nothing is wasted. All of my life experiences are used by the power of good, enabling me to help others and to bless the whole world. Take a breath with that. Nothing is wasted. We know in this study that there is a divine intelligence, a creative power back of all things that operates in, through, and as us perfectly. So what if nothing is wasted and all is for our good? In this context, then, we face life's joys and challenges or fears with equanimity, knowing, trusting that all of our experiences are used by Spirit in service to our greater unfoldment and evolution. So that which was most devastating produces the texture and the uniqueness of who you are. That which feels unendurable becomes the crucible that blasts away the small self, giving way to the greater you. That which seems unbearable, unbearable, ushers in the light, shining as you and serving as a beacon to others. Take a breath. So what are the challenges and fears that you may be experiencing right now, and what are they trying to teach you? What are they offering to you? Just think about that. Every great spiritual teacher who has graced this earth has taught us the same thing, that our discomforts can lead to something greater. Whether it was the Buddha, whose father tried to protect him from all suffering, but he had to leave and experience all of it before he could find enlightenment. Or Joan of Arc, at age 17, led her people straight into battle, into victory. Or even beloved Jesus. After he was crucified, he rose. He was resurrected. So in order to rise and be liberated, sometimes we have to lose the old to gain our freedom. Right? We have to embrace and integrate the full spectrum of this thing called life. And sometimes it's messy. Maybe your life isn't. As Saint Catherine of Siena said, all the way to heaven is heaven. All the way to heaven is heaven. In many New Thought traditions, we tend to avoid pain and suffering via what's called spiritual bypass and other forms of denial. But I talked a few weeks ago about the journey of the spiritual warrior, the peaceful warrior. And that journey is to just stop running from the fear, running from the discomfort, and look at it straight on. Bless and accept. Remember the love prayer we've done many times. Bless and accept. God is always present, even when we're moving through the valley of transformation. What if every step on our path is sacred? What if? So in the book Spiritual Liberation by Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, this is an older book, also done a book study on this. He has a wonderful little story about the Dalai Lama that I want to share with you today. He says, during one of my meetings with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, a rare opportunity opened up to have the blessing of a few moments of just hanging out with him. To me, he is a wonderful example of the freedom that comes from the practice of discipline. Though exiled from his own country and saddened by the tragedy occurring in Tibet, he radiated tremendous love, peace, and joy. What I admired on that occasion was how the Dalai Lama openly expressed his feelings about the suffering of the Tibetan people, whom he profoundly loves, and how, in the next instant, a smile of transcendence would light up his face. Even as he spoke out against what's happening in his country, he was not entrapped by the experience. I'm going to say that again. Even as he spoke out about what is happening in his country, he was not entrapped by that experience. He did not freeze frame the scene. In his wisdom, he realized that life is fluid, that those who suffer today can be free tomorrow. He pierced the veil of appearances and saw reality with a capital R. I attribute this in great measure to his daily discipline of meditation and prayer, which gives him the spaciousness of inner freedom. he was able to stand in reality while responding compassionately to the distressing circumstances of his people. The inner work we're called to do is no different from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We too are candidates for enlightenment. Through the inner discipline of meditation and prayer, we're able to break through the density of the three-dimensional realm in which we live to become genuinely free and liberated. Each of us has a choice to write the discipline of freedom into our daily script. It is wise to do so because such a practice strengthens your spiritual backbone. Strengthening our spiritual backbone. I could use that. How about you? So what if we reframe our struggles as an expression of spirit and as a holy portal that will lead us to our own unique power? And we can ask ourselves, how can I see this differently? How can I feel this differently? As opposed to, why is this happening? We want to ask those open-ended questions. What is mine to do? How can this be a blessing? But be curious. Spiritual practices help us hold an energetic field while transformation is taking place. Call a practitioner. Get prayer. Be elevated. Know that you're not alone. We're all here to support each other. Stay in gratitude. Stay in appreciation. Be grateful. Bless your life. Practice forgiveness. Keep your minds and hearts free of resentment and animosity is vital to our spiritual awakening. Ernest Holmes said, take the heat out from under old hurts, and what's left is light. I love that. And think about this. What if there are no problems, there's only magnificent mysteries? Turning obstacles into opportunities. Take it upstairs. Ask for a solution. Create a mental equivalent of what you do want, not what you don't want. I mean, you all know that. I mean, we that's part of this philosophy as to what are you paying attention to. And then you forgive yourself when you forget. And you go down the rabbit hole. Have a dialogue with yourself. Talk to yourself in a loving way, forgiving way. And please, let go of drama. Notice when your mind starts chattering and writing operas about people and situations in your life that maybe haven't even happened yet. Oh no, here it comes again. We can all write those operas. Oh my gosh. So we're learning, aren't we? We're learning to respond and not react. To become the observer, to stay in the loving, no matter what it's looking like out there. Byron Katie, the famous author, said, when you realize that every stressful moment you experience is a gift that points you to your own freedom and liberation, life will become very kind. It's like the song. Sometimes that difficulty is pointing us in a direction to our freedom. So are you ready to find the sweet honey in the rock? Are you in?
Yes.
Say, I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm really in.
I'm really in.
So we're going to rise up and claim it, aren't we, this week?
Yes.
Yes. And so it is.
And so it is.